Welcome to the Fishbowl, right, everybody? My name is Chief here, and joining me today is Juicy. We are doing LSU versus Army recap, and we're going to be previewing the 2023/24 LSU men's basketball season and LSU women's basketball season as well. Without further ado, let me introduce everybody to my co-host here, Juicy. How you doing today, Juicy?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well myself, my dude. But anyway, let's talk about LSU versus Army. LSU put on a whipping against Army. Winning 62-0. Defense looked flawless. Got a couple of interceptions. Brian Thomas Jr. played great. The wide receiver core played great. Garrett Nussmeier got in the game, threw a couple of deep balls on the field. Jaden Daniels really strengthened his Heisman candidacy this past weekend. But how much can we put in value into this game, do you see heading into a bye week to take on Alabama Crimson Tide next week?
Well, it's in the sense of how much to put in. I wouldn't necessarily put a whole bunch in. I mean, it was more of a morale boosting game and everything. They definitely took care of business like they should. I mean, everybody expected LSU to blow them out, but however, it does put in the a little morale boost going into bye week, a little tune-up game right before the Alabama game, which could be something they needed a game to iron out the flaws and try and have it corrected before the trip to Tuscaloosa. But other than that, I mean, the game was practically flawless from start to finish.
LSU was able to spread the ball around the field a good bit in that game there against Army. I'm wondering here. This isn't the same Alabama team of old. LSU looking like they could throw the ball all over Alabama's defense. I don't know how Alabama's defense is going to stop LSU's offense whenever we come down to it. But in the last two games, if it's worth noting anything, it was Auburn and it was Army, but LSU's defense has only given up 18 points in the last two games, which has been a stark improvement from where they were at earlier in the year. Has this defense turned the corner, Juicy? Is I think the question I want to ask you. What do you think? Do you think this defense turned the corner or not?
Well, I was saying the other day that uh, I think it really started with Missouri. I know LSU gave up a ton of points to Missouri and outscored them 49-39. But however, LSU did have a couple turnovers in that game. They actually did get a couple stops against Missouri, more than what they had. They showed a little sign of life, but however, I found the most improvement from Missouri game onwards to now was, like I said, the addition of Pete Jenkins. I really think has made a difference because the defensive line has played much more physical. I find has been much more aggressive and really getting into the backfield is where I find it makes a difference at. So it does start on defensive line, and if the defensive line can stop people and make stops, then it gives a boost to the rest of the defense that they can hand up on their assignment. So I have to say it really has been, I think, since Pete Jenkins has come on board and the defensive line. That's how where I find they made the most improvement at.
Yeah, I will agree with you completely 100% right there. It looks like LSU's defensive line is definitely more aggressive here. The secondary does look a little bit better within them last three games for sure. Differences and making turnovers, making plays, that kind of thing here. But it's really going to be put to test on when they go to Tuscaloosa on November the 4th here, which we're not going to pick that game this week. We'll pick that game next week as we go down that road there ourselves there. But I mean, not really much to really like look forward to in the Army game too much. We kind of got what we expected to get. Very good performance from LSU offensively and defensively, to say the least here. Able to run over the Army Black Knights in this game here, a 62-0 victory over the Army Black Knights. But now let's switch focus here, Juicy. LSU's men's basketball, they didn't have a great year last year. It was very hard to talk about this team last year. Out of the last 10 games, they're 2-8. Their road streak, they've lost the last 12 games on the road. As they open up their season, they have some exhibition games and stuff like that. They kick off their season though November the 6th against Mississippi Valley State. But guess what? Everybody's RPI is at number 1 right now. It's kind of early to talk about RPIs and stuff, but all that stuff will get balanced out in the due time here. So I guess we'll go through the schedule. We'll pick wins, losses here. And we'll just see how that all goes here. We'll do the women's as well after we get done with this one here. But how you view LSU's basketball team entering 2023-24 season, Juicy?
Well, can't get much worse than last year. I mean, they had a couple of nice recruits along the way this past year that committed. I know Matt McMahon has been working pretty hard on building it, but I mean, am I expecting that much more out of them than last year? Probably not, but I do expect them to not finish last in the SEC like last year. Let's just say that.
Well, let me do the predictor here because I think the predictor is kind of fun because there's no data put into it at all. It's just kind of basing on what happened last year because everybody's got the same RPI. It goes off of like different records. It's got LSU finishing an RPI of 163. So that tells you right there, it's not looking too good. Overall record predictor has it going 12-17, 11-6 at home, 1-9 on the road, 0-2 neutral, 5-13 in conference, 7-4 in non-conference play. Doesn't expect any preseason bids. Quadrant rankings of RPI 0-12 against quadrant 1, 0-4 against quadrant 2, 3-1 against quadrant 3, and a perfect 9-0 in quadrant 4. Now, if you really pay attention to RPI stuff, you don't want this kind of record situation at all. And any times of trying to get in the NCAA tournament or even qualifying for your SEC conference tournament, but that's more on conference placement and your seating than in the NCAA tournament here. But looking at NIT and all that kind of other tournaments they got going on, 0-12 and 0-4 in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2, it's not going to get the job done, but this is a predictor and there's always, especially in this day and age, your greatest improvements across all sports is year 1 to year 2. Year 1, you understand the philosophy and how the coaches coach. Year 2, you end up getting better at recruits that cater to your game plan and that kind of thing. That works out better for you. So as we get down into this schedule here, I'm gonna just tell you what the predictor has, and I'll tell you what I got here going on. So without further ado, LSU versus Mississippi Valley State. I got them winning that game. Juicy, you going there with me, or are you gonna stray away from me?
No, I'm gonna have them winning that game.
All right, we're both 1-0. LSU versus Nichols. I think LSU takes care of business. I got them at 2-0. Juicy, who you got?
Yeah, I'm with you. I got them winning that game as well.
LSU versus Dayton. This is the predictor where they got their first loss here. I will go against the predictor. I think they beat Dayton. I think they'll actually go on the road on ESPN2. It's on November 16th, Thursday night matchup. I got LSU winning it. Who you got, Juicy?
National game. Yeah, I'm gonna go against the predictor, and I think LSU gets it done on national TV with Dayton, but I do think it'd be kind of close though. But LSU
Yeah, the
should win
predictor
that
has a
one.
67-65 win for Dayton. LSU versus North Florida. I got LSU beating North Florida. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, so it should be a relatively easy win.
As we go further along here, a big one. LSU at Syracuse. I got Syracuse winning this one.
Yeah, I'm a, oh, I'm a still agree with you. Syracuse wins.
LSU versus Southeastern. I got LSU beating Southeastern.
I'm gonna
Who
go
you got,
with you on
Juicy?
that one.
Okay.
I got
LSU versus
Southeast.
Kansas.
I mean
Okay.
LSU. I'm sorry.
It's just LSU versus Kansas State. I got Kansas State winning this game. Who you got, Juicy?
I'm gonna have to go with Kansas State as well.
LSU versus Alabama State. I have LSU knocking off Alabama State. Who you got, Juicy?
Should be a win for the Tigers.
LSU versus number 18 Texas. I have Texas winning this game. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Texas. It won't even really be close.
LSU versus Lamar. I have LSU winning this one.
I'll go with LSU as well.
All right. LSU versus Northwestern State. I got LSU winning that one. Who you got, Juicy?
The Tigers.
All right. LSU at number 15, Texas A&M. Give me the Aggies. I think they lose. LSU loses to the Aggies. Who you got, Juicy?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to go with the Aggies. Unfortunately,
So far, I have 4 losses for LSU. How many you have, Juicy?
let me see. I got one, two, three. I think I only have them losing three.
So I mean,
Well,
LSU has
four.
LSU has Trey Hannibal, the 5th-year senior. He's gonna be back on the squad. Uh, Looks like they have 4. I'm trying to think how many seniors they have on their roster. They have 5 seniors on their roster. Eric Fontaine doing what he does best here. They kind of returned the same team they had last year. Um,
I have 4 losses for LSU. If you include the Texas A&M one.
uh, Will Baker's coming in from Nevada, 7 foot, 245 forward. They did have some graduate students here. Now that I'm looking at the roster completely here, Jordan Wright. He came from Vanderbilt. Yeah, I remember LSU basketball getting some transfers in. So this ought to be interesting to see how these transfers play out for them. So I mean, we'll see what happens with it there. But LSU at Georgia, the predictor has them losing to Georgia. Look, this predictor has them going on a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 game losing streak. I don't think that happens. I think LSU ends up beating Georgia this year. Give me the Tigers to beat Georgia. Who you got, Juicy?
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna have to go with LSU because Georgia's not that great
They're not
either. Did we skip Vanderbilt and Auburn and all that?
Vanderbilt and Auburn. Oh, wait. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Juicy. I definitely jumped the gun there. I'm glad you caught me there. Okay, so the catch up with everybody here. Um, so I got confused because I saw Texas A&M twice. Okay, I understand what I did. So I got LSU beating Vanderbilt. I have them losing to Auburn, and I got them beating Ole Miss. Who you got? Oh, how you following, Juicy?
I'm gonna have them beating Vandy, beating Auburn, and I'll say beat Ole Miss too.
Okay. So I have and a loss to take. I got 5 losses right now for LSU on the year.
I still got 4.
LSU. Okay, LSU at Alabama. I have them losing to Alabama. I think they'll lose to Alabama both times. So it moves up to 7. Who you got, Juicy?
I'll have them lose to Alabama as well.
LSU versus Arkansas. I got Arkansas beating them. I just don't see it. I don't think they're a top 25 team. I don't think they're going to be ready to compete against the higher levels of the conference just yet. Maybe next year.
Arkansas wins.
LSU at Tennessee. I got them losing that one too. I got them at 9 losses. Entering Florida. Who you got, Juicy?
I got Tennessee with
LSU at Florida. Look, so I think Florida beats them. I just don't see it. I got LSU at 10 losses for 1 year so far. You got Juicy.
I got Florida winning that one.
LSU at South Carolina. I think LSU gets this one. I think they beat South Carolina on the road. Who you got, Juicy?
Give me. I think the Gamecocks will pull this one out.
Okay, so LSU versus Kentucky. I got Kentucky winning that one. So that'll drop LSU down 11 losses on the year.
I got Kentucky as well. Excuse me.
Oh, LSU versus Mississippi State. Mississippi State, I think LSU beats Mississippi State. Who you got, Juicy?
I got LSU. I think these last 5 games, these 4 out of last 5 games, they easily winnable for
LSU,
LSU.
Georgia. I got LSU beating Georgia. Who you got, Juicy?
Give me LSU as well.
LSU at Vanderbilt. I think they'll drop this one to Vandy. I feel like they're gonna drop one of these last four. So give me Vandy.
I'm gonna go with LSU again.
Okay, LSU at Arkansas. Got them losing to Arkansas. So that'd be 12. You got
And I'll
Juicy.
have them beat Missouri, and I have them losing to Arkansas.
Okay. I got them beating Missouri too. So I have 12 losses on the year for LSU. So that's 5 less. So I have them finishing 17 and 12 on the year. I'm not gonna even try to figure out what that would be in conference. Let me see. Go back in conference and see where I got them. I got losing to Texas A&M both times. So that's 2 right there. I got Ole Miss beating them. That's 3. Georgia, Alabama, they're losing them twice, probably. That'd be 5. Arkansas, Tennessee, that's another 2. That's 7. Um, at them beating, I think losing to Florida, I think 13. South Carolina, they win. Kentucky, they lose 14.
I got
I got them
LSU
beating.
losing 13 games.
I got them losing 14. Yeah. No, 15, I think, altogether.
Hmm.
No, it was 12. I was adding on to what I had before. So the games that I have, who I had them losing in non-conference, Texas, Kansas State. Okay, so it's 9. I'm at 9. It's a lot of math. I'm not very good at math. So with the wins, they come down, obviously. 9 in conference losses. So they'll finish, it looks like 9 and 9 in conference from what I'm telling here. Yeah, that's right. And 17 and 12 overall, which will probably not get them in the NCAA tournament this year. But regardless, it's a little bit of improvement from last year. I think that's what's gonna happen. It's a safe bet, but we'll see. We'll see how good this team is once they hit the hardwood, and we'll see what happens there. Now, a team that's riding a big wave of expectations that are through the roof because all the season ticket sales, it's LSU women's basketball this year. So this team could very well go undefeated. It is a juggernaut. This thing is huge. Um, it's a lot. They got 2 expedition games. Then they start their season versus number 20 Colorado. This team's under a lot of immense pressure. The hardest thing to do in sports, I will say this, is repeat. It is undoubtedly the hardest thing you could do as a champion is win it back again. That's why what Georgia did last year in college football was so big because it looks like they've established another dynasty there. Now, granted, we're going to find out if LSU women's basketball can start establishing themselves as a dynasty and be able to pick up the pressure, right? So I got them beating Colorado in the first game. They should beat Queens. They should beat Mississippi Valley State, Kent State. That's 4. Southeastern. That's 5. Texas Southern 6. Then they go to the Cayman Islands, Nicaragua. They should beat them and Virginia. Well, Virginia's going to be kind of an interesting one there, but I do think they end up beating both those guys there. Then they have Virginia Tech, which will be a pretty good fight there for them, but I do think LSU could very well go undefeated this year. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Like it's loaded. It's just gonna depend on how much they handle the pressure of being champions. It's very easy to chase after something and hunt after something down, but it's another thing to be hunted. So we'll see if they're able to handle the pressure of being a champion and be able to adapt that. And they play the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, and I think they'll beat the Raging Cajuns there. That'll be 10. Then if they McNeese, they should win. That's 11. Northwestern State should beat them. That's 12. Copen State 13. Jacksonville 14. Missouri 15. Ole Miss 16. Texas A&M 17. Auburn 18. Alabama 19. Arkansas 20. South Carolina 21. Mississippi State 22. Florida 23. 24. Vanderbilt 25. Alabama 6 A&M. I got LSU win that one too, 26. There's not really good. Auburn 27. Tennessee might pull something there. They avoid. Oh wait, they do play South Carolina. South Carolina's gonna be a really good team to beat this year. They're gonna be kind of one of those there. I think then they will drop one somewhere probably because it's gonna be hard to go undefeated throughout the whole entire year. I was just going through the same wins, but South Carolina, I think they'll drop that one. I think they'll lose that game to South Carolina, backing up a little bit here. So let's see. I'm trying to think how many games I was looking at here. I lost count how many wins they're gonna do. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's 20 and 1, 21, 2, 23, 24, 6 A&M, maybe 25, Auburn 26. Tennessee might give them a run. That's a very good possibility because Tennessee did end up beating these girls at one point last year. If I remember right, I think they did lose. Let me check real quick here. I think Tennessee did beat them. I want to look at the teams that beat them last year because I think that's going to be a tall tale sign of what's to come. If you look back on everything we have here, yeah, let me see if we pull it up real quick. They had 2 losses, one in the SEC, and that was to South Carolina. I remember that one. Their other loss was Tennessee in the yeah. So it's looking that kind of way here. Then they ended up making, and everybody was kind of wondering, is this bad or is this, what's going to happen here? Their closest game they had in the NCAA tournament was against Utah. So that was something, that was a 66-63 win. But back to where we were at here, women's basketball here. So I got them at 2 losses, Tennessee and South Carolina beating them. I do think that's going to happen. So I got them beating Georgia and I got them beating Kentucky in the women's basketball. Now, granted, I can't predict the SEC tournament because I don't know who's going to be in the SEC tournament. So that's what I'm thinking right now. So we'll see what happens here and we'll see how it goes there. So without further ado, we lost connection with Juicy, so we'll try to see what happens there. I thank y'all for tuning in to the Fishbowl Radio, though. That was our LSU basketball and LSU women's basketball preview as well. We did redo a recap with the Army game here. We both picked LSU to beat Army last week, so it's something to look forward to, and we'll see what happens on the next edition here of the Fishbowl Radio. So we're gonna pick the Alabama game next week here on the Fishbowl Radio. So, but we'll do a Raging Cajun show next week. Gonna be Monday, so we'll recap what happened between Louisiana Raging Cajuns and South Alabama. That is one that we're gonna do, in addition to a host of other stuff. So, thank y'all for tuning in here. We got a lot accomplished here today, and we'll see y'all next time. Good night, Fishbowl Nation.